So slips, trips, and falls. They're the leading cause of injury for the Commonwealth and usually for the Department of Health. We're out and about. That's how we do our job. We can slip and fall. But we've got to educate our employees how to prevent these slips, trips, and falls. And as somebody who may be responsible for safety or has some role in it with your HR, those are the types of things that everybody can look out for. It's not just one individual or two individuals. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Again, I'm going to bring up the whole chair situation. I had to do an investigation on a claim where an employee was standing on a table, stepped to change a light bulb, stepped down from the table onto a rolly chair, and you know what happened after that. Murphy's Law took over and gravity, you know, broke his elbow and a couple other things. So you can't discipline somebody for getting injured, but if they fail to follow a safety rule, yeah, they could get written up for that. So you've got to encourage and make sure that you're enforcing your policies and procedures too, because if not, then they're not worth the paper they're written on. Okay? So only used approved steps, stools, and ladders, and I know you guys have got them because I've seen them out there when I'm pretty certain to say that most of you have them. Don't climb on desks, chairs, tables, or any other piece of furniture. If you're going to sit down, like I said earlier, especially in a rolly chair, hold on to that chair. I know in one particular health district that I visited, they had a habitual problem with people falling out of chairs, and in their new hire orientation, they actually teach people how to sit in a rolly chair. They do a demonstration. But you know what? It's eliminated all the falls from chairs, okay? The administrator there decided, you know what, I'm tired of having to answer all these questions about people falling out of chairs, so we're going to put it in our new hire orientation. So, walking up and down stairs, make sure you hold on to the handrail. That's what it's there for. Might not prevent you from slipping and falling, but it might prevent you from going down multiple stairs. You might just go down one versus all 10, the whole flight or whatever. Some places that you work at, some factories that I've been involved with or worked in, if you got caught walking up and down the stairs without holding onto the handrail, you got written up or you got thrown out. They were that serious about it. So if there's a handrail, hold on to it. The biggest thing is during inclement weather, make sure you're wearing the appropriate shoe for the weather. And I'm going to pick on women because we got to look cute. If it's ice and snow outside and you're wearing that 3-inch stiletto heel, chances are you're going to take a fall, okay? You really, really are. What we recommend, well, men can wear them too. I guess they want to wear platform shoes, but I was just picking on women. I shouldn't discriminate. I'm sorry. If you choose to wear a platform shoe or a stiletto heel, you're looking for trouble in that type of weather. What we recommend is to wear a sneaker, a rubber-soled shoe that has, like, we call like knobs on the bottom of it, like a hiking boot or something like that, to give you grip on the surface so that you have traction and not slip and fall. Then once you get into your building, if you want to wear your pretty little shoes, that's great. Thong-type shoes, those are the ones with the flip-flop, like flip-flop type sandal that are open-toed. I discourage those because lots of times you can, everybody knows what blowing a flip-flop out is. The thong part pulls out between your toe and then there's nothing there to hold it on. But sometimes too with the thong-type sandal, the actual sole of the shoe will flip up underneath as you walk and cause you to trip and fall. That's not going to be covered by workers' comp. That's one of those, you wore those shoes, you slipped and fell. Now, I don't want to get into shoe policy too much because that might be a real subject, a touchy subject, but I'm hoping that in the clinical areas that you're at least...
They're not permitted to wear them.
They're not, yeah, that you're...
No open-toed shoes.
Yeah, I was going to say, no open-toed shoes. If you're going to wear a mule or a clog, I would hope that you're wearing a strap on the back of it. There is a letter of interpretation by OSHA that talks about those and the new Crocs that are out there, because the Crocs are the foam and they have, the older ones have holes in the top of them, And you know, you drop a needle, you drop something, it can go right through it. I'm guilty. When I worked in the patient care setting, I wore clogs, I wore Birkenstocks, I wore OR shoes that were, you know, they mold to your foot and that kind of stuff. So I'm guilty of it too, and I didn't have a back strap, but we've come a long way since those days. But think about that. People that are out in the field, like your health inspectors, your environmental staff that's out there, the drinking water folks that are walking on property, I'm hoping they're wearing a leather boot, a sneaker, something that's slip resistant so they're not slipping and falling. I would encourage that as well. Inclement weather is always going to be a problem. You can do something called the duck walk. When it's really icy, you kind of stand with your feet out like a duck. You take small steps and you shuffle to keep traction on the floor. I could do a whole demonstration if you wanted me to, but I think you got the picture. And then just a big thing, like I said, housekeeping and debris in the aisleways. Okay, you got to think all this stuff, and then, of course, if it's in a building or in a location that we can control, we need to report those hazards immediately. All right. Well, you might have staff that come across this. You might have people that are going out to home visits. There's people's homes that look like this, and you might have to get into the door. If you look at this picture, on the right-hand side is the door, okay? There are homes that your staff have to go into that look like this. It might be somebody from the drinking water area have to go do, you know, do whatever they do, take a water sample. Yes. Is that just somebody clicking out?
Yeah.
You know, they might be out there walking on this type of property. It could be you have an environmental health inspector. It could be a restaurant. You never know what could be out there. So these are the types of things that they could come across. Makeshift stairs. Remember, we're going into private, you know, we have the potential to be going into private residence homes. So here's makeshift steps. Are they secured to that broken up concrete? If you look here, really look at this picture. You have a makeshift set of stairs. It's probably not secured to that concrete pad. That concrete pad is breaking up, so that's a loose concrete. Plus, if you look directly in front of the steps, where the concrete pad is, where the weeds kind of are, you can see loose brick. Okay? These are slip, trip, and fall hazards that people are going to encounter. You got to recognize that and say, okay, what's the safest way to get up to that doorway to get in there? Well, I might want to walk around the bricks and not step over them or on them. I might want to check with my foot and see if the wood stairs are kind of secure before I get up there. I'd also look for rotten steps. They could be rotten. I know somebody has fallen through rotten steps before. I've seen some claims like that. I don't remember how long ago, but I do remember people going out on visits and, you know, they step on a deck or something like that and it's rotted and they fall through. So think about those things. These are things you've got to educate your people on to be aware of. Because we get focused on our day-to-day job, doing what we're supposed to do and the tasks that we're doing. We forget about these things that might prevent an injury. Okay? Here's your food service worker. You ever go into a restaurant and see it's totally wet, slick floor? You're going down. You are going to take a ride on that floor. And they're usually slick because it's greasy. They're not cleaned appropriately like they should be. So have you ever walked on a restaurant floor or walked somewhere where your feet stick or it's slick? It's not being cleaned properly. I can teach you a whole class on floor cleaning. That's a whole nother I could do 8 hours on that. But you got to look at this. This is a major hazard. The whole floor is wet. So your restaurant personnel and the health inspectors need to recognize, hey, if it's like this, is there an alternative way we can get back to the kitchen? Or can you get a mop and dry part of this so I can walk on it? Because we don't want them to get injured when they're on the job. Okay? Doorways. If you look here in this picture, if you look up at the top of the screen where it says caution step down, there's actually a slight step down from this doorway. I think most of the health departments now have a vestibule, then it depends on whether it's a secured vestibule or not before you actually get into the main part of the building. With some of the workplace protection stuff that has been implemented, but when you come in up the steps, there's a rug, and then when you come to the second set of doorways, you actually have to step up some to get in. Slip, trip, and fall hazard. And it doesn't matter where we go, we need to look for those things, whether it's our building or somebody else's building, we're dropping papers off or something. Ever see this happen? Nice floor mats, we got them, but they're rolled up. One of the biggest things as somebody who's responsible for safety and preventing slips, trips, and falls in your location is who maintains these rugs, okay? If you own them, that's one thing. I think most of us probably rent them, but when they get super saturated on a rainy day, they're not doing you any good. Somebody needs to be extracting water or changing out the mat or mopping up the water around it, okay? So look at that. You should, there's a series of mats that you can do that collect big things, and then this one that's rolled up should only be collecting water. It shouldn't have a bunch of rocks and grit and all that stuff in it. If you have specific questions related to floor care and mat maintenance and all that, just give me a call or shoot me an email. We can talk a little bit in depth about it. But look for these things. This is a trip hazard. This happens all the time. Rotted stairs again. Okay? Look for decking. There could be a critter living under there. There could be a dog under there. There could be a raccoon, a possum, a snake, a spider. Okay? Think about all these things. Your people's got to remember this. It's not just slips, trips, and falls, but it's other hazards that are out there. We can't control animals, but we can at least be aware so that if we see something, we can back off and safely try to access that point. Parking lots. We see this all the time. Curbing, you step down, uneven sidewalks. One of the big recommendations that we make is if you have uneven sidewalks like this, is take spray paint, yellow spray paint, white spray paint, purple spray paint, doesn't matter what color, but spray those edges so that it identifies, hey, there's a drop in level, there's a difference in the walking surface, so you don't prevent a trip and fall. I know if you've ever been downtown here, they built a new parking deck where the Consolidated Labs used to be, that 14th Street parking deck. And depending on the time of day you come out of that parking deck and what set of doors you come out of, if you come out on the Franklin Street side, there's a slight step down. They have now painted it, but we had several people that tripped and fell. Also, if you go across the street here in front of, I forget the name of that building, is it the Patrick Henry building? Mm-hmm. There's some curbage there that's painted because it's kind of uneven, it's on the hill, and people are tripping and falling. So remember, it's not just employees, but when you do this, it's your general public as well. Okay? You're out and about. This could be somebody's yard. It could be a facility you're going to. It could be a school that you're going to do some education at. It could be anywhere. Watch for these things, especially if you're carrying an object. I got 5 minutes, okay. If you're carrying an object, you could slip and fall in that hole and really hurt your ankle or sprain it, okay, break it, something. All right. Here's a set of stairs. They tried to do the right thing. They put slip strips on it. It's like a black sandpaper, for lack of a better term. Those things roll up. They break down after times you have to replace it. But what's missing in this picture? There's no handrail, okay? So there's an easy, what are you going to grab onto if you start to slip and fall? Probably that electrical conduit that's on the side of the building. And now we got a crispy effect going on, okay? Or we're gonna slip and fall and hit our head on the fire extinguisher. Why somebody put a fire extinguisher right there? I have no clue. Or we could slip and fall on that pipe sticking up. So look at these things. Get your people to, and use these pictures. That's why I said if you want to use these pictures as training, that's what they're here for. I pulled stuff that I thought was variety enough that you could take this presentation back and provide it, 5-minute training. You don't have to do it 2 hours. You can just do slips, trips, and falls and go through the pictures. What are the hazards? Pictures are worth 1,000 words. They really kind of tell it all. I like to use a lot of pictures.